DanTDM is a YouTuber, singer, songwriter, and
Crazy son of a bitch.
Whoa, Dan.
Oh, stop
chill,
swearing!
and I've already done this intro in the last video. So to make a long story short, DanTDM is the guy who made Never Ever Going to the Nether.
I had had enough.
Oh, why?
We had him.
I'm feeling a strong 6-2 light set.
I'm gonna be talking about 3 more custom mod adventures that I didn't in the last video, starting with the Diamond Minecart Imposters. So this video follows DanTDM and Trayaurus trying out some cloning machine thing, which not only clones Dan, but also clones the lab, Trayaurus, and everyone else. Dan goes to check on the cloned lab and finds a diamond minecart, which Dan apparently really wants. So Dan does the reasonable thing and plans to steal it by kidnapping his clone and disguising himself as his clone, like he's the hitman or something. This absolutely ingenious plan works, and DanTDM steals the diamond cart. Now, DanTDM has what he wanted. What do you think he does next? Leaves and sets up a nice display for his newly acquired diamond minecart. No, DanTDM blows up the cloned lab with everyone in it, except for the fake DanTDM. He keeps him in a cell. Now, Master Thief doesn't exactly come to mind when I think of DanTDM, but this plan makes me think otherwise. This custom mod adventure video is super short, but I had to talk about it because the plot is so insane that I just had to talk about it. Next video I have here is turning into a vampire custom mod. I think Dan forgot the adventure, or maybe it actually is a custom mod, but it was in the playlist, and Halloween was literally yesterday as of writing the script. So the video starts with Dan and Trayaurus out in the woods at midnight, and they're lost until they find someone chilling in the woods alone at midnight. And the person turns out to be a vampire, unsurprisingly. Dan gets bit, passes out, and wakes up in the lab, meaning Trayaurus presumably dragged Dan all the way back to the lab from the woods. See? Trayaurus, a true friend and hero. When Dan wakes up in the lab, the vampire who bit Dan is like trapped, meaning Trayaurus, on top of saving Dan, knocked out a vampire, and then dragged said vampire back to the lab. Wow, what can Trayaurus do? Trayaurus then informs Dan that...
Just tell me. I'm a what?
This means Dan needs blood to survive, but luckily Trayaurus already thought of that and has kidnapped an entire village. Dan then does some vampire stuff like turn into a bat, turn other people into vampires, and make it rain, which apparently vampires can do. This video is actually really short, and there's not really much of a story to it. It's more of just a showcase of the actual mod. But it was in the playlist, and Halloween was literally a few days ago, so I thought, hey, I'll talk about it. Alright, next up here I have the police station mission video. This video starts with Dan and Trayaurus walking back to the lab until they see the police knocking at the door. And no, they're not here for Trayaurus. Again.
Needs to be solved. Wow! Trayaurus, did you hear that, buddy? I think they've forgiven you for everything you did last time.
They're actually here because they need DanTDM's help in a robbery case. Basically, an emerald was stolen from a museum, and the police are looking to recruit Dan and Trayaurus to track the thief down. Dan goes to the police station, gets his badge, and then goes to investigate the museum for clues. Why they need Dan and Trayaurus' help, I have no idea. And also, they're both kind of criminals. I mean, the whole breaking Trayaurus out of jail, beating police officers with a crowbar thing. But apparently the police need their help, so... Dan goes to check out the museum, they look at some CCTV footage, and then on the way back, Dan finds a glove, which is apparently enough evidence for Dan and Trayaurus to raid a suspect's house. And they find the suspect's plans to rob the museum again. You know, for the record, they only robbed the museum the night before, and now they're doing it again. Basically, Dan and Trayaurus set up a trap for the robber, they catch them in the act, and beat them up and throw them in jail. You know, nice job, Dan. They go back to the police station, and Dan has to give back his uniform, but Trayaurus doesn't. You know, the escaped convict gets to keep his uniform. Okay, last video I have here is the Diamond Dimension robbery. And no, before you ask, Trayaurus isn't the one who robbed it. Or at least, I think he didn't.
The one-of-a-kind diamond reactor has been stolen. See if you can find the culprits. Trayaurus, this wasn't you, was it?
The Diamond Dimensions robbery is an interesting video because I could have sworn it was about DanTDM robbing the Diamond Dimensions, and I had a whole bunch of jokes ready, and I rewatched the video, and halfway through I come to the realization that the video is not about DanTDM robbing the Diamond Dimensions. It's about him catching the robber. So, you know, that's just great. The video starts with DanTDM in their museum they have under the lab. It's there to keep track of all their adventures, and yes, that includes this one. so it also doubles as a prison for imposter TDM. Apparently Trayaurus has something awesome planned for the day, and that awesome plan involves DanTDM traveling to a different dimension, the Diamond Dimension to be exact, which is populated by the same Minecraft skin. And then Dan just breaks into someone's house, so I'm kinda half right, he does some breaking and entering in this video. Dan and gang go to the bank and talk to the teller, who tells them that they were robbed for the first time, and the teller enlists the help of Dan and Trayaurus, who were no less than 2 minutes ago breaking into random people's houses. After some investigating, Dan comes to the conclusion that the vault guards were asleep through the entire robbery. Dan then sets up a trap for the robber, which surprisingly works. The robber gets trapped, and after some classic DanTDM persuasion,
Not saying a word. Well, if you don't have to tell us, these two guys might have a word or two for you, if you know what I mean.
he rats out his entire operation. Dan finds a tunnel which the thieves dug out, which props to them, it probably wasn't easy mining a tunnel when the entire dimension is made of pure diamond. Dan follows the tunnel back to a cave where the thieves operate from, and he beats a few of them up and takes the diamond reactor back to the bank, and to finish it off, blows up the thieves' lair. I don't know what it is with Dan and blowing things up in these videos, but there were a few more videos I wanted to talk about in this video, like the Minecon London one, but I kind of think that warrants its own video. But I seriously want to thank Dan for making these custom mod adventures, and I'm glad that Dan is still making videos after nearly 11 years. I mean, it took me 11 years to upload this video. I mean, that's dedication, and honestly, these videos are some of my favorite to make, so thanks, Dan. And sorry this video took so long. Like, no joke, the GTA 6 trailer just came out and got announced in the time it took for me to upload this video. And my next video is on GTA 6, kind of. You'll see when it comes out, but sorry for the long wait, and have a nice day.
Goodbye.